the anchor of this event. I'm from St. Anne's College. Uh, SPIC MACAY, Telangana State welcomes you all. SPIC MACAY, that is Society for the Promotion of Indian Classical Music and Culture among its youth, was founded in the year 1977 by Dr. Kiran Seth. SPIC MACAY is a voluntary non-profit organization which seeks to conserve and promote awareness of Indian heritage and culture among its youth of this country. SPIC MACAY is a movement comprising of volunteers, both young and old, who are trying to bring the best of Indian heritage and culture into the life of every youth all over India and abroad. The organization conducts nearly 7,000 programs every year in about 800 towns in India and 50 cities abroad. So, I would like to introduce Sir Argha Kamal Ganguly. The speaker of the day today is Argha Kamal Ganguly, sir, who pursued MFA in the year 2014 from Rabindra Bharati University, Kolkata. Having a specialization in painting, he takes keen interest to explore other mediums and different fields of creative expression. Presently, he is an assistant curator at National Gallery of Modern Arts in New Delhi. He's a part of the curatorial team involved in the process of is also a guest lecturer at College of Arts, New Delhi and National School of Drama. Thank you.
Hello. Namaskar and thank you everyone. Nirja ma'am, Javan ji active. So we need your support. And we from National Gallery of Modern Art, New Delhi, we are very happy to have this program. And what we can do while the session is going on, if you have any questions coming into your mind, you can note it down or else you can use the chat box. So in the end of the session, Kriti said, National Gallery of Modern Art, it started at New Delhi, in New Delhi, from the year 1954, where it is. National Gallery of Modern, this particular Jaipur house is in the India Gate Circle. It's a prime location in Delhi. And Jaipur House was a living palace for the Maharaj. It was more like a living palace. During the processes changed, so Government of India acquired these all houses in around India Gate Circle. So we have Dholpur House, which became UPSC office. We have Baroda East Jaipur House, which was started and conceived and conceptualized in the year in 1954 as a museum of modern art in the education ministry, and also obviously as a institution who can promote. And till now we are doing the regular in New Delhi. So we happening who were the artists in India also have the modern and contemporary shows happening. So if you come to NGMA Delhi after the lockdown period, 10th November, it is open, but we are not entertaining space. It's beautiful. So what we have, and then we just follow the timeline happening. Who were the artists in 2020? So it's a beautiful collection. You must see the particular physical museum once the pandemic situation is over. You can come in just from our collection virtual to see all the art, every group when we do it. The first point of modern, and as I said, NGA, it's an institute under MINAC. We do retrospective of important art. Also do artist exchange program. What their museum works go to that institution, so which are the treasures. Second, we show. And third, we also have when we are having the virtual who write the size of the also a museum's important point is documentation, how they are archiving, like a painting when you are hanging in the museum from 18 understand collection, then documentation comes. I go to a doctor, but if you have a painter the painting who tells us like what will be the light, what will be the temperature inside the museum, and if any problem happen, if there is a problem in the museum, we call them restoration. How obviously in NGMA is the display team very much in. We have very good painters, Amrita Shergill, we have Jamini. Doesn't mean you are doing very educational. Our virtual tour program today was educational program of the museum. future documentation, restoration. I will just request. I was telling, she will look like. Yes. So the picture which you are seeing is a recent photograph coming to Delhi. We can at least see the museum and visualize. So this is the old architecture. So this particular building, the architecture and the Queen of Jaipur. And after the independence, government of India formed, and these buildings of in around the central part of Delhi. Now, this Jaipur house was conceived as a museum in 1954, and it started with a sculpture and first floor. And we are still an artist named Upendra Maharathi, and it was a very successful show. We had done a Delhi. This is a basic model architecture, which is the old architecture. In our right side, we have three different blocks, which is the new wing of National Gallery of Modern Art. And the campus, it's more like a border view. The campus looks like this almost. This is an architecture model, is a small miniature architecture model of National Gallery of Modern Art. If you come, you can imagine. We have around 8 everything. So this is a view also of new wing, which came in 2009. So in this new wing, we have 3 blocks. One block, 2 blocks we dedicatedly use for is the administrative part where we do. Let's go to the next slide. We have last 200 years, like our colleague artists are imagining and how they space to share in Bangalore. And I want to. We have 2 more NGMA, National Gallery of Modern Art in India. Till now, we have in Bombay, and we also have 1 branch in Bangalore. So we have where the museum started and why Ravi Verma's painting. And I want to share this artist's practice. Ravi Verma, I think most of us know, or the people share. Our collection starts from its focus started with Raja Ravi Verma, and he had the particular very early. Remember, we have frescoes, wall painting. Is with water-based medium, watercolors. Se hum log European medium. When the Britishers came here, they brought their. He was the first artist in India who was very good with his painting skills. So we can experience his painting. Yeah, next this particular painting, which and when you're seeing a painting, this will be my request. If anything is coming to your mind, if any questions come, please write in the chat and read the questions, and we can have an interaction. Documentation. So if you see, when we are seeing the paint written, ACC number means accession number. Like we have our identity cards when like it can be like Aadhaar, it can be other kind of thing. Like if you go to National Museum, the History Museum, or metal chairs, which is very industrial, innovation gives you a kind of story. We can spend more time. If you just see the pillar, today the pillar, right, which is painted in the background. So Ravi Verma's painting, Portrait of a Lady, it's a beautiful portrait painted where Ravi Verma was living his life. He traveled to different powerful portraits because he was the first artist who can paint with oil technique in India. Let's go to the next slide, please. Gallery of Modern Art, New Delhi. Verma lived there also and painted a house. But later we can differentiate what is the group. They like this painting because the reflection of moonlight on the water. Someone is becoming a photographer, someone is for movies or for theater. I usually meet these kind of people in a museum and they stand in front of paintings for their experience and they find out it talks about a different mood, it talks about a different time, very experiential. What I am trying to through words, through images, but changed, but yes, oil on canvas again. Who started to paint with oil painting artists at that point of time, pre-independent India. Most of the kings were asking, paint my portrait. Queens were asking, paint my portrait. He was receiving this kind of commissions. But so now what he did, it became again popular. But yes, if you're not that much available also, this medium oil painting, it came with a very good friendship with Theodore Jan, are not accessing this kind of to practice, started to take print or editions. So what right now we are seeing, you are seeing one copy which was originally signed by Ravi Verma. You can see even the sign of Ravi Verma on this print in your left corner. And he is signing because he is keeping the record how according to the popularity of the prints when it became a little bit cheap, published as date realistic, very gorgeous, very Indian neat history or Gordon. Why? Because the artist's individual object has the description. Forget about the technical part. Let's come to the subject. How the drapery look like and how much it's subject. Another quick observation, can become a set designer for big movie house or maybe for theater. And also a common person can appreciate the time through the hand fan. The hand fan. Today, 2020, think about the time, 19th century. How many family can acceleration really help us? Museum visits are also very helpful. Very different. The color of curtains, we can see this kind of curtain, but most of the time we. So this is very important when we are seeing a painting or a print by an artist. We are trying to situate the practice of an artist. We are trying to imagine, okay, how the surrounding of the artist was looking like. And also we are thinking about the socio-economic condition through a painting or through a visual representation. So NGMA is very proud to share this kind of work of a very important artist. Let's go to the next slide. There are a lot of paintings in india.gov.in in Google or in any server, and you can come to our website and see the artworks through these virtual links. Let's go to the next. Untitled, obviously, but we know this story. We know this kind of story. See the design of the pillograph, oil-based printing process. Let's go to the next slide. This folklore, Smiths. Yes, this is also, it's again, Untitled is sitting because of the dress and the drapery is a sequence of Mahabharata. And see how very realistic manner is again an oil-based. Imagine how the Mahabharata looked like. So what an artist is doing, listening, experience the hand is how the rest of the body is happening, how the thinking mood the artist is bringing. Again, an outdoor situation. The last image, this is again an oleograph. We have seen some of the Ravi Verma. See more. There is a virtual link already given. Now we will see a wonderful artist who's 1874. You can see in the left side, there are informations given. So what a curator do in a museum, they understand the collection of the museum, then they understand the documentation process, then they also take care of the art object, then they decide to the museum. This is a curatorial decision to present. In the end of the session, you will know 5 important artist practice. Now, Nicholas Story came from Russia. He lived some days in USA also. And when he came to India, landscape, how beautifully and I will say aptly he was delivering the experience of seeing a landscape or Himalayan landscape. He lived in Manali for years. He passed away in the year 1947, in the same year when we received the independence, when we so you can just think about it before in India and practice like this. Let's go to the next slide. You can see it is written, painting accession number is given, and which was used in India and Asian countries for years. Like if you see miniature of India, like dated back in 14th, 15th, 16th century even. But you can see an artist coming from Russia, he is still practicing with this particular medium, and he is trying to capture the sunlight which is coming from audience right side with this yellow color. You can see how he was efficient, how much he was efficient to depict the sunlight through the color application. You can see the rocks having some kind of yellow touches. Let's go to the next slide. Participants, feel free to write your questions in the chat box, because I am only sitting in front of my mobile, but I would love to have your questions later. This is a night sequence painted by the same artist, Nicholas Roerich. And you can see another very important lady in moonlight, how the painting represented the time, the particular ambience time. So it's very important how you can bring the warmth or coolness or experience of night through color. Sometimes costume designers also do it, fashion designers also do it, sometimes artists do it, set designers do it by application of, okay, bedroom, this color, drawing room, this color of wall, to kind of like exercise it with human psychology. And this particular painting makes me personally very and depiction. Let's go to the next slide. One of the important artists, and just beautiful, like, just think about you are practicing, and in art institutions nowadays, if outside of your classroom and it's like, okay, you have some model and you can see, or some object you can keep in interior and you can paint. So you can see this is more like an exterior practice. He's going outside, he's experiencing nature, the kind of silence of nature. And imagine the sound, what he was realizing at that point of time. Yes, SPIC MACAY is not only representing painters. SPIC MACAY brings interest with classical music. Thing to imagine when you are seeing a painting, just imagine how the sound will kind of come through this painting to you. It's very abstract, but in museum, when we do workshop, you can imagine the sound, what the artist was imagining before 1947. Let's go to the next slide. I hope participants are enjoying. If you're enjoying, just write in the chat box why, so I can understand. I can which height you are seeing the mountain plains, how the houses look like. You can realize through this artist represent oriented, more myth oriented, more history oriented, or more god and goddesses story oriented. But Nicholas Roerich, when he came from Russia, he was in love with him, to represent the theme. Let's go to the next artist now, Nandalal Bose. Yes. So when you go to National Gallery of Modern Art's website, you can have also the link of this Nandalal Bose. He lived and practiced till 1966. So he was a person who saw pre-independence, independence time, and post-independence. Recently, we are also planning an exhibition in the coming year, 2021. National Gallery of Modern Art Delhi will have a beautiful exhibition on Nandalal Bose. So you can see, our participants can see, there are upside, there are options: Haripura poster, flow of life, monochrome. So now we will go directly to the monochrome, like with basic kind of color, how Nandalal Bose tried to represent what he was seeing in around. And I also want to share one thing. If you think about India becoming independent, now what independence is stand for? Like if you think about earlier, we feudal system in the society, and then like you have Britishers here ruling. And slowly you were doing portraits of important people or god and goddesses story. But let's go to and enter monochrome. Let's see how Nandalal Bose tried to paint day-to-day life. He was an artist who was asked by Mahatma Gandhi to go to Haripura village, exercise what Haripura villagers are doing, and those posters were the part of the decor inspire the people of the village to think about, okay, how you can think about Swadeshi movement. So an artist was having a very good connection at that point of time, a politician, an icon of it. He was also a great regularly exercising. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, mono. So you can see peacock is a subject, and you can see how efficient his brush marks are. He was a person who initially started from Kolkata with the guidance of Abanindranath Tagore, which he was a cousin of the writer Rabindranath Tagore. So the oil technique, okay, we will not use the oil wash, and also our, you can see Ravi Verma, we mostly saw kings of nature. Here also in Nandalal was teaching in Shanti. So immediate surrounding what he was seeing, he was experiencing there, he was trying to archive drawing through his own painting. Today, a photograph is medium to tell the story. Landscape, depth of color, how you are using dark and light. Let's go to the next slide. And if you see, and I have an explanation of painting. Painting is all about feeling. What feeling an audience is receiving while the audience is experiencing this painting. And you can see the medium is written. It is like watercolor on paper, and how comfortably the artist is delivering the subject. If you just see the weight of the tree, the trunk, the leaves, and just with a free flow with the brush marks, how the artist is representing it. And National Gallery of Modern Art, we have a beautiful collection of Nandalal Bose's practice, as he was regularly speaking with students and he was asking students to go out from the classroom, see the nature, try to connect the self with nature. And you can see how much he himself practiced. So when you are thinking about music, theater, filmmaking, visual arts, dance, practice so much, so they become efficient by makes them perfect. Let's go to the next slide. And it's so natural. 1948, you can Albos, so he's just signing Nanda. He used that. So when he came back and he was practicing with students from the traditional painters of Japan, right? When we listen to it, we usually think about Spain directly. No, it can happen in Bengal, in a village, in like Shantiniketan. And artist Nadalal Bose observed the subject, and you can see the use of color and brush strokes, and how much that red kind of like cloth. And a person is kind of let's move to the next slide. And again, a watercolor on his sketchbook and kind of tools, other works by the same artist. Let's go to the next slide. 54. Amrita Shergill, Nandalal Bose, Rabindranath Tagore, the writer, poet, and painter, Raja Ravi Verma. These were like Meera Mukherjee. These were the collecting under the kind of guidance of Ministry of Culture, and it's a trajectory of Indian modern art throughout that time. Let's move to the next painting. Day-to-day life activity, house, and I think tells also he's painting or she is painting. Here, nonetheless, they remember, and from the memory they paint, they kind of come together. They do how you can have a dancing feeling through this painting. How you can imagine the sound, or what sound will be in the surrounding area at that point of time. Let's move to the next. We have a kind of like an idea about how Nandalal Bose was representing day-to-day life and surrounding area. Um, Girl dancing is a particular subject here. You can see the audience is sitting, nature, architecture, everything comes as a part. Let's go to now Jamini Ray, also a very popular artist during that time. Jamini Rai was born, he was a very good artist during his initial days, but later on he realized his kind of connection with the Patachit, like from Bengal, if you know that. And he lived in 1972. Again, this is another artist who saw pre-independence, during independence time, and post-independence. So you can see even the yes. I personally like this particular painting because of color, because of the kind of like, if you see the eyes, three pujaris, three ladies going for a prayer or offering puja. Uh, Now, if you a lot of sequence, it's not short. Here, you can see this can carry the, the elements to do the puja or the kind of like objects or maybe flowers or maybe some kind of like prasad she's carrying, then paint. So So the artist only painted the center. They are also the part of the process. How you can use subtext with layers. The sari with blue. We have seen three pujaris. This in this particular context, I want to share. If you think about India and all over the world, how many women artists we have seen in 19th century? But in India, during this time, pre-independence time, we have and also a lot of women artists slowly because we are thinking of this. So we will come to that context later on. Tale of this particular painting. So fairy tale is all imaginary character. A space in the left side of the painting. We have flowers. We have kind of a cat, or it's also very folk or folkish, I will say. If you see the wooden toys in the village fairs and sometime in handicrafts fair, you can connect the elements with that. Even wooden puppet, if you see, because this was an artist. Initially, he was very much well trained with realistic painting because he was living the life, or patachitra, the traditional form of art. Even if you see the border, you can easily connect. If you see the border of the painting, you can easily connect. So how the artists, they take the inspiration maybe from Alpana or Rangoli. Let's go to the next slide. Particular artist has given the title Blue Boy. It's tree because it's far away. Even it is a flat painting, but you can have that perspective sense. But who is this blue boy? And you can see the representation of the, like when we do the round, everything is there in this particular page figure. And blue boy, how you are trying to connect your family member, even galleries, they collect the Ravana from our myths, and curators of NGMA, the senior curators of mind, the research, and we have an IT department where the experts of computer, they try to bring all this together and create this hyperlink. So even you are not coming to the museum in COVID situation, even you are in different state, don't feel kind of away from the modern art situation. It's for you. So you can see again a sketch of Ravana. Let's go to the next slide. So a museum doesn't kind of like work as an individual kind of institution. Okay, so we have the artist Ram Kinkar Bej. So because we have more than 17,000 works in the collection of National Gallery of Modern Art, but we can't see everything at a time. Timing also in different institutions because all the classes. We were focusing on 5 important treasures. We six pre. He was an artist who was regularly in conversation in Kolkata at that point of time. Even if you are interested, you can check of India. The front gate has huge any server. If you write the entrance of and by the same artist who was living in a important people, and he was practiced, and also he taught a lot of. Upside you can see portrait, life study, abstract, and let's see. Yes, it's very easy. You can do it from mobile. You can do it from your computer screen. Yes, next slide, please. Particular sculpture. It is entitled "The Mother with the Child." After Industrial Revolution world, be caught, but moving nature, a three-dimensional object. It's a bronze. It's made of bronze by Ramkinkar Page, and you can see the mother figure. You can see the time because he was paintings and in was represented. So not named or what the artist has given or a sculpture. Let's go to the next slide. So sculpture is dimensional. So obviously, when the photograph comes, it gives you a kind of experiential feel. You can they display in a proper way so people can work. You can see and working in the field how the dealt by the artist Ramkinkar Bej. He observed, he made, he talked with this peasant or farmer. Now in NGMA Delhi, Mithun, you can represent the story. Let's go to the next slide. If you just actually in Bengal, so what he was perceiving, what he was experiencing, the skull kind of figures, the body bones are coming out, a cement sculpture he is doing and representing this eyes, ears, nose. You can smell it, how good families where you don't have food. In dance, you can have bhai or deliver in their own medium, in their own mother, mother and child. Participants can connect couple, yes, train station, or they're lifting your hope, like you can have a figure. Let's go to the next. You can see a man and a woman and the togetherness. Outdoor sculptures also, like in nature. And still now, if you visit, there is a film hall in front of that. There is a castle still now. 60 degree of National Gallery of Modena from our collection. We have seen some. Last but not the least, yes, we are of National Gallery of Modern Art in the new wing. So this is not Jaipur House. Jaipur House still we use for special exhibition. Has developed this 360-degree walk earlier. So we viewers, appreciators, and students. So even if you are free, you can just go directly to the website of NGMA, and in the right side you can see there will be an option of Google Art Project. If you just want to share, in the right side, um, yes, in the right side you can see some black buttons. There is a plus and the minus. Dharani will help us throughout to kind of walk inside the gallery. The plus means you can zoom in. Can we zoom in? Yep. So it's very many paintings were displayed in the basement at that point of time. And if you just click in the minus, you can zoom out and you can also, yes, a white mark. If you click there, you can have a round in this particular floor. You can just rotate the screen and the 4 floors of the new wing. There are small boxes. Dharani, can you how the Ravi Verma paintings look like? Yes, the participants can feel what we have seen Ravi Verma's painting slide by slide, how it is displayed actually in the museum space. And you can see each painting having a small caption talking about the title, the medium, the year, the artist, and just feel free, Dharni, to give a surrounding ambience. Like, so you can see, like, when you come to this particular space, you can just experience the light, the cleanliness, and the stories. Uh, yes, just show the screen so the audience can have, yes. We are now in second level according to the 1, 2, 3, 4. We are in 2. In this particular, like Thomas Daniel, Telecattle, who are coming to India and documenting India, because photography came, but it was not very popular medium at that point of time. So artists came from outside, they documented India. Yes, if you zoom in, you can see Daniel's painting, Banaras. Just zoom in the front, left side of the pillar. Yeah. So whenever you're free, I will. So these are the European artists. They are making sketches. They are going to the spot, and you can see it's not about the painting. It's also how the museum is displaying. What is the height, and like how the particular area look like. What is the lighting? How much distance two of paintings among the two painting you can give. So the viewers who are coming, they can have a breathing space, they can have a good time. It's not like how the curator is also working with the let's move to the next small box where we can see Amrita Sehgal's painting. Yes, I'm one of the important artists from the collection. Amrita Sehgal life of 28 years, and Amrita Sehgal's painting Bride's Toilet talks about that particular time when you can imagine pre-independence time, how many women were going to school, what was the marriage age, and each painting you can see in the right side or left side, they have a caption. The right side, if you just move towards the right side, so yes. So we have in-house display. So this is a new wing. Right now, what we are seeing, we have paintings in this floor of Rabindranath Tagore. We have Amrita Sehgal. We have Jamini Rai in this floor. We already saw some of the paintings of Jamini Rai. So we have displayed this particular important artist in this floor. We also have some sculptures by Meera Mukherjee in this floor. We have Sailoj Mukherjee, an artist, in this floor displayed. So yes, this is the entire area of sharing their views, and they were not very well accepted at that point of time. They're creating a language So it's kind of a breakthrough. You can imagine 1920s, 1930s. It was not a very comfortable time for women painters to have exhibition because there were a lot of male painters in around. Most of the curators were, or the museums or the gallery were run by male. So Shunani Devi, Amrita Shergill, Meera Mukherjee, they really made mark. And today we have seen students take inspiration from this artist. Let's see next. Yes, again, another zone of Amrita Shekhar, the ancient storyteller. In still now, if you go to the villages, even in Arpa, please zoom in into the front picture. Yeah. The ancient storyteller. The left side painting, it talks about someone is cooking and some small children are listening to their kind of grandparents maybe, and how the threshold of the house look like. And Dhani, can you just show us the left? So left of your screen, can you just kind of move to museum is a public space, right? It's not a space only for a certain age group or only for art appreciators. Any person can come. A person come from different age group, specially able people, they also come. So this ramp is very helpful because people can kind of move through wheelchair. Even small children come, the perambulator can easily move with this ramp. So if you are going to an airport, if you are going to a rail station, if you are coming to even NGMA, National Gallery of Modern Art, is a people's space under Ministry of Culture. So we give the tax money, and it is more like accessible. So we received a lot of viewers after COVID. I mean, Saturday and Sunday, like today, we have around 150 viewers. So, yes, in the weekdays we are struggling, but I think within a kind of time, because Delhi we have the kind of pandemic situation, we will have more footfalls. Let's go to the next zone. So we have the lift, we have the stairs, we have the ramp to connect the floors. Yes, we are right now in the area where we can see the European painters. Like this is after the miniature area. And if you just zoom in, just see how beautifully Thomas Daniel had painted Banaras and India in 1850, 1870. How beautifully they painted and how they archived India. And sometimes these kind of paintings travel to Europe and England to show how India looked like. And some go to the next box. So different artists, different kind of like timeline, and how the museum kind of made it kind of accessible with time. You can see it. I will request Tharni if we can go to the level 4. If you just click on level 4, uh, yeah, towards left, 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 yes, and you can just go straight towards that painting of Makbul Fida Hussain. No, extreme end, yes, there's a painting by, this is Syed Haider Raza, by the way, is another very important artist. Then what we are seeing in red color is a very important artist, and he was the part of Bombay Progressive Group later on. He lived also a lot of time in Paris. So Bombay Progressive Artist Group is not all the artists is coming from Delhi. All the artists is not coming from only Kerala or maybe Bengal. So because it's the National Gallery of Modern Art, uh, it's kind of like has the collection of artists from different states, different regions. So now we are seeing Bombay Progressive Group. So this group was initiated by the artist K.H. Ara, Makbul Fida Hussain. So these are the, if you just walk towards Hussein's painting, please. This we have seen Raza's painting. Can we just go towards Hussein's painting? If you take the screen in right towards your right, and then walk. So Makbul Fida was saying, yes, the extreme last painting. If you go straight, anyway. So if you just see, we are trying to kind of show you how the museum kind of help you to see the sequences of Indian modern art movement. So Makbul Fida Hussain is one of the important two projects which is outside, in around the street, public kind of attention came, and they struggle to a lot of people, which is digital audience. But just think about the time, which is 1970. Hussein lived in 2011. So it was not very easy for maybe Vasudeva Gaitonde, Syed Haidar Raza, or the artists like Ram Kumar, or the artists like Ravi Verma, whatever we are speaking about, Amrita Shekhi, to reach towards the audience. Yes, you can have an exhibition, you can be very good in painting, but how many people are coming to see your work? So that's become a question. So sometimes artists have started to do kind of public engagement program. Move towards the left now. I think Dhani, we have seen this particular painting of Raza, how he represented landscape. You can move towards the left side and give a kind of full experience how the floor look like. These are Gaitonde's painting, Vasudeva Gaitonde, another very important um, abstract painter. They don't paint a particular form of a figure or a face, but some lines, color. Try to see National Gallery of Modern Art different floors. And if you are coming to NGMA, I request you around 150, 160, 80 footfalls every day after 10th November when we reopen. Uh, Thank you for sharing the screen, and I would love to have questions from the participants. Whatever is coming to your mind, you can just. I hope you have enjoyed and experienced National Gallery of Modern Art in bits and pieces, but yes, through virtual media and whole coordination, the coordinators who try to have the questions. Over to you, Preeti. Uh, any kind of feedback or questions you can ask. But yes, um, the session was focusing on 5 important artists, and also we tried to kind of show you kind of virtual. I showed when I started. I focused on art. We tried to. It was written oil on canvas. It was written of the museum, which kind of forward because oil painting where we kind of connected with when the people come to the museum who are working behind the scenes. So these are the basic points which I wanted to share.
So,
Yeah, monochrome is like mono means like with one particular color. Like I can show you one example. Like he okay. So only he is using black old work with carrying a digital print to kind of make it more interactive. Work we have seen how we displayed, but for educational purpose, sequence of mother and child has been represented with the child's toys also. So it's very important observation. When you see the painting, you also start to see the kind of surrounding area, like if you are even designing a set for a theater, you also think about audience through this kind of toys. What is the subject about? So again, another painting I want to share with the idea of monochrome. You can see a lady cooking. Yes, Nandalal Bose lived in 1966. It's not. It's also important to think about the time. How many women were going to school? How many women were teaching? How many women were accessing education? So most of the women we were seeing in the kitchen. But today, if you think about the restaurants you are going or you are having food, most of the chefs are male. Most of the women you can see in Indian Air Force or in colleges, schools, they're teaching, they're in different professions. Yes, we have kind of like a problem even in the interior part of different area, but still the idea of education. But when Nandalal Bose was living, the ideal idea about a kitchen, mostly you can see a woman representation. Why so? Because the society was like that. When we think about cooking, at that point of time, it was always like household cooking and works will be done by women. But today in 2020, the things and themes and conception is changing. So I really say that medium or the color, there's something beyond that. There is also socio-economic condition coming to you through the representation of a painting or a print or a sculpture. I am interested to do that kind of like exercise with participants. Yeah. Any more question?
no, sir, only one question.
Okay. Another thing I want to share. So India, if you think about, I'm not talking about the world because NGMA's collection is mostly focusing on the artists who are resided in India. But yes, we have international exhibitions regularly. As I said, we have three kind of exhibition. One, we show our permanent collection. Second, we do retrospective of important Indian artists who are still now practicing or practiced among these 200 years time frame. And the last is exchange program with other countries. Museum, we do the museum exchange program. But if we just kind of avoid the bracket of modern art, now if we start to think about beyond that point, we have first painting in India in Bhimbetka, I think visual reference, Bhimbetka cave, Madhya Pradesh. So at that point of time, if you see, we don't have maybe, we had sign language, we had sound, and we also had used like wall drawing in the caves to kind of have a festive mood, or when we were going to kind of hunt something, we had these codes of visuals to communicate. So at that point of time, also visuals played a very important major role. And then we have Indus Valley civilization. We have the priest face or the dancing girl. We all have read this in history. National Museum, they have Indus Valley Gallery in Delhi. But move more, you can see at that point of time, we have coins design. We have some few sculptures with terracotta or something. We have Ajanta paintings. 2500 year ago, when we don't have crane, or when we don't have this modern equipment, how we have managed, electricity was not there, so how we have managed to paint inside of the cave, and so beautiful, and so kind of compassionately painted, and how many artists were practicing together at that point of time to kind of implement that idea. The Buddha stories or the god and goddesses stories. We have Elora, the sculpture. So from there you can connect. When we are coming towards 1906, 1910. It's more modern time. But I have a slide. The title of the slide is "Birth of Gautama." It's talking about Buddha's birth. So this is a slide from Indian Museum, Kolkata. This is not from the collection of National Gallery of Modern Art, but I just wanted to show you at that point of time, we didn't have YouTube video or maybe animation movies to tell the story. But yes, sculptors in this particular work, you can see how they are carving the stone and telling the story of Buddha's birth. So this is 4th, 5th century Gandhara sculptures, like which we have just seen. I want to also connect the idea of today's program, National Gallery of Modern Art. This is a digital print from National Museum. I wanted to show you because we have this whole idea of storytelling like this. Miniature painting, mostly they have side faces. They also had kind of descriptions written, more like what you can say, a graphic novel, which is very popular nowadays among the youngsters. You can see the sequence of Ramayana. I can't. This is Assamese tradition. The state Assam, they had this tradition to paint on a palm leaf and tell the story. So you can see Hanuman. You can see also the description, beautifully painted with tempera medium, with water-based medium on paper, on palm leaf. And when we practiced on wall, like Ajanta is fresco medium. Someone I just saw in chat box, someone asked, what is tempera? Tempera is water-based medium. You can use egg yolk, or else you can use the natural adhesive to make the color more thick, and you can practice it. It is water-based medium. Yes, any more questions? Hello?
No more questions, sir.
Okay, so if we don't have any such questions, so I can show you quickly a few more work, and then so we have seen a bit of Amrita Shergill's work, and one of the important artists from the collection. And this is a very popular painting, the painting of entitled as Three Girls. An Indian philatelic department celebrated this painting as a postal cover in the year of 2013, which marked the year of birth, centenary year of Amrita Shergill, and in National Gallery of Modern Art. In the same year, we had a retrospective of Amrita Shergill. She passed away in 1941. Still today, you can see the emotions she captured with her paintbrush pre-independence situation, three girls sitting, and even not only the particular portraits, also you can see the shadow and the colors of the fabric. It tells story, right? So Amrita Shergill is a very important artist from the collection. Also, how you can bring the local stories. Like this is again a very important painting from the collection, Haldi Grinders. So this kind of like the different age girl, you can see uh, how you can kind of like imagine they're making haldi together, and also use of color. She used the black color in the end. If she used the white color here, all the audience eye will be going to that particular direction. So how the artist choose the color, how the artist choose the color to kind of like concentrate in the middle area. Yeah, the haldi grinding is happening. So Amrita Shergill, her father was Indian, Umrao Singh Shergill, from Punjab background. He had a lot of states, and also he was a practicing photographer at that point of time. But her mother was a musician, Mary Antoinette from Hungary. So like when she studied from Paris, what was her consequences? When she came to India, how she practiced. So this kind of paintings tell the story. Also, we have a beautiful collection of sculptures. Like this is a sculptures, right? IB Gadget. The title of the sculpture. This is a print of a sculpture. This is a wooden sculpture. I think audience can experience. Fisher Woman is the title. Even you are not seeing the detail of the fish, but you can imagine, you can figure out, okay, a sculptor is trying to represent a fisherwoman, trying to go to kind of sell the fishes which she collected, or run the family through that particular profession. Uh, this was by Ivy Gajjar, one of the important sculptor. This is by D.P. Roy Chaudhary. When Winter Comes is the title. I also feel sometimes the artist is kind of having a role of poet. So you can see the expression, it is made of plaster of Paris. But if you see this particular sculpture, it expresses what you do in winter, in chilly winter, how the expression of winter can be delivered through a sculpture. So it's more like an observation how you are telling stories. So we have this kind of sculptures, painting of important artists. But quickly, I want to share when contemporary artist exhibition happened. So you can see Minalini Mukherjee, one of the important exhibition happened in 2015. This is almost like 9-10 feet huge sculpture. Inside there's an iron armature, like we have bones. Like here there is an iron armature, and after that, with the kind of jute rope, she used to build this kind of sculpture. So a lot of artists today, they experiment with mediums. Yes, is there any question?
Yes, sir. Rahul is
Yep.
asking, sir, you told Jaipur Museum has three blocks. What are the three blocks? He want to know about
Oh
those
yeah,
three blocks of
Jaipur
Jaipur.
House. Jaipur House is a campus name. This is an old building which we have seen in the beginning, the old building picture. Jaipur House is still there. We use the old architecture building. This is now restored. So we do special exhibitions for 3 months, for 6 months in that space. The new wing, which came in 2009 as an extension, that particular new wing, that new wing has three blocks. One block is the permanent collection. One block has 4 floors. Another block has a special exhibition hall. Another block is the administrative block. So in the administrative block, we have a reference library, we have like auditorium. So these are the 3 blocks which I tried to kind of communicate. Any more questions?
No, sir.
So just kind of following up. So you can see Mrinalini Mukherjee's beautiful sculptures, and these are 6 feet, 5 feet huge sculpture made of jute rope, kind of colored rope. And you can just see, uh, just imagine, when we think about sculpture, we always thought about stone or wood or plaster of Paris. But someone is making sculpture with this whole tradition of weaving, but with a very contemporary way. She lived her life till 65 years almost. When the exhibition and retrospective was happening, she had an illness and she passed away. I met her personally when the exhibition was happening. this kind of contemporary objects or everyday life objects also artists use. So both Gupta is one artist. This exhibition happened in 2013 in NGMA campus, and he used this kind of metal everyday object, works with the team. He conceptualized, and then the kind of like team delivers. This is one particular work by Jitish Kalla. We had an exhibition of Jitish Kalla, this artist who lives and practices in Bombay right now, in around 48, 49 years old. Uh, so in 2017, it's a life-size auto, but you can see how an artist is thinking about the kind of like time, space with this bone structure auto. So different age group comes, and we have the engagement program. We sometimes have artist talk where some artists will be there or who researched on Amrita Shergill, willing to speak with the audience. The students come, special tours happen. We do full screening. We have walkthroughs in the gallery, which I always do. But yes, sometimes special senior curators come and they do kind of workshops with people to make a kind of have a dialogue with people and open the space, open the discussion to think in different way. Hello, hello,
Yes, sir.
Preeti, over to you.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Do we have more questions or
Uh,
any kind of feedback? I think
no more questions, sir.
okay. So it's not also about only like museum. It's more again a white cube space. You have an architecture. You have a huge building campus. Inside you bring some objects and tell story. There are curators to do the documentation and all. There are small individual galleries, state museum. Each state they have very beautiful museum and some private galleries. Do visit these kind of spaces also. And also there are traditional artists. I would love to show you one thing. This is a Kawar painting. This is a tradition from Rajasthan. So you can just see it's not the museum always tell the story. If you have the interest to see and know more, you can go to any part of India. If you go to Bihar, you can meet and talk with the artists, Madhubani painters. It's not also important to go always in Bihar, but if you are going and visiting crafts museum of the state, you can know your tradition more. Like in Maharashtra, we have Warli painters who are for ages kind of following the tradition of painting. We have Mysore painters, we have Tanjore painters, we have this shadow puppetry in south the southern part of India. It's also very important, like you can see how the artist is making a wooden block and trying to kind of paint it and telling the story of Vishnu. And they are not going to any art institution or art colleges. What they do, they learn from their family and the background. They go to school to learn and to educate themselves. Some of them do farming, they have businesses, but they have a tradition of painting still now. Like we learn Rangoli, like we learn Mehendi from our family members. We don't learn it from institutes, right? So you can see they make this kind of small, kind of wooden box kind of thing, and it's more like a book where you just open up and you can see the story of Rama, and with you can see. So what I'm trying to say here, it's yes, I am working in National Gallery of Modern Art. I have shown you some of the art objects from the collection. We had a 360-degree tour, but art, if you think about in a vast way, in most of the cities, in the villages, we have this kind of traditional kind of people or the artists who are continuously practicing with their belief and how efficient they are to tell the story. So this is Kawar painting from Rajasthan. Still the artists are
working in different museums. You can see the collection in Crafts Museum and also States Museum in Udaipur. You can find the history of Kawar painting. The idea of carrying this small box and opening the box with singing, and the singing will be contextual. I can't sing like them. So usually they open one part and they sing and present the story.
Okay, sir. I would like to thank Mr. Argha Kamal Ganguly, sir, on behalf of SPIC MACAY for taking out time from their busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge along with the virtual tour of NGMA. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, the whole team of SPIC MACAY. Thank you, Priti, for coordinating. And I hope we will have this kind of program again. And we look forward when you are visiting in Delhi. Please visit National Gallery of Modern Art and be safe, be happy. And yes, through the website, you can see more. This is a huge collection. And thank you again to all of the participants.
Thank you, sir.